Hello guys, and you're very welcome to another one-to-one series, okay? Today we have on a guy called Rafael Ludwig. Rafael is from Toronto and just started his YouTube journey just over a year ago, and has already steamed up to just under 6,000 subscribers. He knows his stuff all about Apple, Canon, C-Log, grading, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, you name it. This guy is one of the best editors out there. If you want to know more about Rafael, do join his channel. I'll leave a link just up here for you. And without further ado, let's jump onto the interview so you can get to know more about Rafael and his beautiful mind for editing. All right, let's go. Hello, and you're very welcome back to the one-to-one series, and as I promised to all of you, we are getting on Rafael Ludwig. Welcome to the one-to-one series, Rafael. How are you keeping, my friend?
I am doing very well. Happy February. Well, maybe February, not, depending when this comes on, but yeah, hello to everyone, and I'm actually glad to be on here because I love the series that you're doing, and all the people that you're introducing to everyone else is just amazing.
So. Thanks a million, buddy. Thanks a million. And come here, I really enjoyed your live chat last night. That was pretty cool, man. It was nice to get an insight to who you are and what you do, and to tell us that story about your first ever film, man. That was cool.
Yeah, so you enjoyed that steaming pile of success that what I call a live stream? Yeah, it was good. No, I literally, like 3 seconds before I turn on the lights, turn on the camera, because I was working right up until that moment, but I didn't want to miss it because it's something that I definitely want to get in that consistency. Once I set my mind to something, I want to make sure that I show up and follow through on all the things that I promised, even to myself. So if I make a promise, I like to stick to it.
For sure. And you got your 30 likes. Like you said, we got it there.
That surprised me. I was definitely, it was my third live stream, so getting 30 likes was a surprise, but it was a pleasant surprise, that's for sure. So either way, I was going to tell the story. I was just using that as a primer to see if, to give me an excuse to tell people to like the video. And it's a little thing that I learned from Pat Flynn, he did 365 live streams back to back, and he learned a lot. And so, just...
That's epic.
It was a journey for him.
For sure. Right, so let's crack on with the interview and let's get to know more about Rafael. So, for those who don't know, who is Rafael Ludwig?
Hey guys, I'm Rafael, and welcome to the channel where our goal is to always fix it in camera and then finesse it in post. Who is Rafael Ludwig? My specialty is that I have lots of specialties. I'm able to dabble in, it's not a jack of all trades because it's about skill stacking. So I started with photography in high school, spent 5 years developing film and working in the darkroom and just loving it. And then that transitioned into filmmaking, went to university for cinematography. That's what I wanted to do. And then continue that. After I shot my very first short film for school, there was no one to edit it, so I started editing. And because no one else knew how to edit, they're like, hey, can you help me edit my thing? And then, so that led to that. Then I wanted to do a title sequence for my films, and people started asking me to do it for them, and then visual effects. And it was just all these skills that just kept kind of stacking onto one another, that after I left school, instead of going down the path of being on set, I ended up in the post-production realm because I really enjoyed that portion of it. So 20 years later, I was able to loop back and do stuff in front of the camera and pick up the camera again and just enjoy that and remember that feeling that I had when I was a teenager and just making and creating for me without creating for anyone else, without any notes, without just to go for it. So my background is cinematography, visual effects, editing, all the post-production stuff, nothing really with audio. So audio is something that I had to learn just for this because I would send all the audio to be mixed by people that have that skill set and really understand. I don't know what to look for in the audio mix. So it's always an interesting thing where.
Do you know what, Rafael? I have a very good friend of mine. His name is Darren J. Spoonley, and he is the master of audio. So if you ever need advice, ask him. He's a legend. You know.
Absolutely.
I'm being totally sarcastic. He's useless at audio. He messes it up all the time.
Don't do that to me.
No,
I'm taking your word on this stuff.
Darren, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm only joking.
He's really not. That's what good friends are for.
Exactly. He humiliates me all the time, so it's grand.
Tit for tat.
Payback's karma. Come here. So whereabouts are you from? You're definitely not from Limerick anyway, or County Clare, that's for sure.
Well, you don't know that. I just don't have the accent. I work hard. It's my online personality. No, I am based out of Toronto, Canada. In and about Toronto, Canada. Been here majority of my life. Came from Europe before that, but I don't remember anything before that. So it's like I'm Canadian kind of through and through. Grew up loving hockey in the winters and skiing and snowboarding. So that is who I am.
Cool.
But I do a lot of work between here and LA. Not so much recently, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, Canada, kind of not born, but raised for sure.
So you're in Canada, you're in Toronto, the mecca of basketball in Canada. So are you a Toronto Raptors fan, and do you even like basketball? Because I am the biggest basketball fan ever. Well, not ever, but
basketball
you know what I mean?
fan,
Maybe.
yes. Basketball fan, absolutely. I played basketball. Cool. I enjoy playing it more than I do watching. I'm not a Toronto fan. I grew up in the 90s, so Chicago Bulls, just like Mally.
Alright, I'm belting. You're doing good to see you, Mr. Dodd.
From your last episode.
Mally.
Jordan Pippen,
Malcolm.
come on, I'm not even a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Like, I have that, I'll cheer for them, but I'm more of a fair weather fan for Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm a Detroit Red Wings fan for hockey. So I don't know. There's something about the Toronto teams I'm just not. Just doesn't do it for me. It's like I like the dynasties that were built by all these other places. And I know that you're a Phoenix Sun fan.
Yeah, even though I'm wearing a Oklahoma City Thunder jumper, but still I like a lot of teams. Like, you know, basketball as a whole, I just love it. It's brilliant. It's like my gossip. I listen to podcasts every day, the whole shebang. But look, enough about me. Let's figure out more about you. So, what do you like about being a content creator? What's so great about it? About coming on every week and talking about all these cameras and stuff?
Well, it's not just cameras. I talk about everything to do to fix it in camera. Hey guys, I'm Rafael, and welcome to the channel where our goal is to always fix it in camera and then finesse it in post. And I always appreciate the early thumbs up, because editing is your third chance to shape a great story. Because there's going to be a point where you're going to need to take it to the computer and do something with it. So if you can spend an extra 5 minutes when you're with the camera to fix something, to remove a bottle that's in shot, or, you know, just anything. If you can look through the frame, check the frame, when you get to the computer, you're going to save yourself hours and potentially days of time trying to fix all those little mistakes. Or you'll have so much more footage or better photos because you've actually taken the time to frame it a little bit better. I remember there was a video that you did where you were talking about, I think it was you, that you were talking about if you just framed it a little bit better, you would have had a better image overall, because you thought you had it, but the image was, there was something else that was a bit more dominant when you looked at it previous. And there's just, it was one of those things where if everyone takes a moment to fix it in camera, you're gonna save a lot of moments on the back end. And this is both for taking photos or with footage and editing videos. So
cool. Excellent. So have you enjoyed your time being a content creator? Like, what's been your favorite part about being a content creator?
Meeting people like you and having those conversations and having that random comment that pops up that just makes your day. I didn't know what to expect, because I've been on Twitter before, and I done the whole Instagram thing, but never has this kind of relationships, like these kind of just camaraderie, the conversations that come up, and literally finding people that are in the same mindset as you. I find that to be just amazing, because it's like going to a convention where everyone's there for one specific reason, and it's the same reason as everyone else, and then you just start chatting with everyone, and everyone's excited about that convention that you're at, right? So it is nerding out. It is you're getting excited about, like, oh, did you hear the new camera specs on this? And even though 90% of us won't buy any of this stuff, we still watch the video. Like, I'm a Canon guy through and through, but like, I'll watch the Sony announcement video, and I want to know about the specs. It's like, maybe I should switch to Sony, but I won't. But it's like, you just get excited about the weirdest things. And, you know, it's not stuff that my closest friends or longest friends from high school, like, they don't care about this stuff. They don't care that I'm interested in this. But finding that niche online, that was the thing that it surprised me through and through, that it was amazing. And I found, I can say friendships, because there are people that I will just shoot the shit with. Pardon my
absolutely, 100%.
Pardon my Irish.
And it's more than welcome in this channel. Genuinely, we really like it. We had a bold word come out of one of the presenters' mouths last week. I don't know who it was, but terrible word.
Just beat me if I do.
Just a small bit. So, if do you still practice still photography? Like, do you still go out kind of maybe for a landscape or something? Like in Toronto, you've got the falls and all that. The most photographed location on earth. Yeah, we have that there, you know. Trying to find a unique angle of that is always fun, and then you're always fighting with 10,000 other people when you can go there. Do I practice? Yes, absolutely. I've actually I said this on, I think, another on one of my live streams, where I talked about where for like a 5-year stretch, I didn't want to touch the camera. Like, it was there, and I just didn't want to pick it up. I had no joy taking any photos, because my whole work at that time was just all so focused, and I didn't have any extra free time. So when I did pick up the camera, you have that moment where you pick up the camera, like, I know I should be able to do this. But you take a photo, and then you're just like, wow, that was garbage. Like, that's just like, what am I doing? And so it just happened over and over again, where I just didn't want to do that anymore. And when I met my wife, I was snapping photos, because my favorite kind of photography is portrait photography in the studio, or with natural lighting in the right settings. Like, that's what I enjoy, like posing the models and just getting the ability to tell that story. I never really found that love for landscape photography. It was just the thought of waking up at, you know, the crack of ass was just like, no, it's not for me. You'll be surprised if you did it, though. I promise. So, like, if when you do come to Ireland, I'll bring you out, man. You'll actually be surprised.
That would be like, if I had a location to go to where it's just like you start driving, and like every turn is like this amazing landscape that you can have. Like, here we have rolling hills, and just like another farm. It's just like farm, and it's just like okay. No, there's some little nooks and crannies that are ventured out by a lot of photographers here, and they love it, and they take amazing photos. But like, it's a 2-hour drive to get to those places, and for me, it's like, nah, it's
I feel your pain.
I like creating stories. I like where I can set up the lights, and everything in the frame is curated. It's there on purpose, and that's the part that I like. I like building the photograph or the image or the frame. I like doing that. That's the part that gets me excited, because once you look through the viewfinder and you start seeing it come out, and then like the images start to spark. And I think that's where storytelling and movie making really I caught the bug for, because photography was one thing, and then moving the camera to then add to building that story. And again, everything was intentional. You put those images in that order for a reason, to evoke emotion. And that was the whole thing, that even with photography, you're always trying to evoke a feeling from the viewer, and the faster they can have that feeling, the better you are at communicating stories and stuff like that. So that's what I'm always
100%.
striving for. There's no such thing as perfect, but there's that perfect moment that you can always try to achieve. And I like creating it instead of waiting for it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, 100%. So talk about creating things and making things your own. So like you make a lot of YouTube videos on, like to say, like Canon gear, tutorials on the ESR, the C200, Mac and Apple and all these things. So like what gave you the whole idea behind this channel and all these kind of gear reviews and passing on your knowledge about Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve and all these things?
Well, before I started my channel, I sat down and just did an assessment of what is the thing that I'm most passionate about? What is the thing that I will not stop talking about? What is the thing that I will not shut up about, right? With my friends, with my family, like every time I hear some piece of news, what is that thing that's going to be at the top of my list to want to talk about? And anyone that will give me any air, I'll talk it off, right? So the things at the time were Tesla, Apple and the products and what they were doing, and obviously filmmaking and post-production and everything to do with storytelling. So those are the three things. And I was also getting really into investing and money management and but that was more me, and I didn't have anyone to chat with. So I was like, so can I make a channel that would talk about that? Like me on my learning process to do, money management and financing and investing, but then like, it bores me. So I was like, no, that was out.
Okay.
And it's like, there were so many channels that I followed that were Tesla related that were talking about the car. And I was like, well, I could, because I know how to use the cameras and tell stories. But then I knew that there would be a saturation point and a point where it won't matter anymore. And when it came down to it, I was like, I wanted to create stuff that was evergreen. And also I wanted to give back in the same way that I learned from a lot of people as I was coming up. People that graciously, selflessly just gave their knowledge to me just because I was there beside them and working on the same project. They mentored me. And so I wanted to have an opportunity to give that kind of knowledge back. And here are the mistakes I made. Here's how to speed up your entire process. Here's how to do these tips and tricks. Here's how to edit. Here's how to do the camera. And just give people that knowledge. And so after I knew what I wanted to talk about, I looked at who is going to be my core audience. What is the audience that I'm going to want to communicate to? And it was for a lot of people that were kind of at my level and still coming up. So, because there's a lot of people that are my peers and they watch my videos and they're like, that's a great video. It's a great tip you shared with, but they already know this. So it's not for people like that. It's people that are like, they've only been taking photos, but now they're like, well, my camera can do video as well. So I want to learn how to take the video and now do something with it. It's like, well, here, I'll show you how to do that. So it's about not how to use a camera, but what to do with it once you know how to do the technical part of it. Again, like we were talking before, there's that 90% is of photography is being in the right place at the right time. And the other 10% is knowing how to use the camera and then what to do with it afterwards. Both of them are equally weighted, but if you're at the right place at the right time, it's like, if you know what you're doing with the camera and what you can do with it after, if you can see that in your mind's eye, essentially, you're going to be able to get and evoke those emotions that you're trying to do. So that's what I'm trying to, that's the channel that I decided to. Cool. And the more ideas I wrote down, the more video ideas that came up. And I have this saying that one great video does not make a YouTube channel. Many good video ideas can make a great YouTube channel. So that's my North Star. That's where I'm trying to go for.
Yeah, that's absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. And like, I love watching your videos. I'd love to be able to make sure I watch them all the time, but we've only so much time in the day, and all these other people haggling me to watch their channels as well. But
I understand, and thank you for that. That's I love watching your videos as well. It makes me jealous because it does feel like you're living in Middle Earth. literally. So I'm a big fan. So it's just
Thanks a million, buddy. And likewise, geez, I learned a lot from you. Like learning how to color grade, it's just been an absolute blessing in disguise with the C-Log and the Canon ESR. It's made my
so
videos
simple.
10
Once
times
you know,
better.
it's so simple. Once you know,
Yeah,
it's so simple.
yeah. So come here. So Apple have just released, well, not just, but a few weeks back or a few months back, the Apple M1 chips, and they sound very, very promising, and they're exciting. We have one right behind us here. We have that Mac Mini with the 16 gig RAM in that one. But you really like the whole idea of this unified memory and Mac M1 chips, but you haven't pulled the trigger yet. So
Well, I'm actually not a fan. I'm not a fan
Oh,
of
you're
the
not a fan? I thought you were a fan. I thought you were excited about this.
I'm excited about the M1 chip. The chip
Okay.
that they released has unified memory, which is not a good thing because unless they start jamming more memory onto those chips, which I don't think they will. I like where they're going to go with it. I'd rather them put 12 or 16 high performance cores on the chip and have the memory separate. I want to be able to expand my memory over the long run. So if you buy 8 gigs, you're stuck with 8 gigs unless you replace the entire thing, right? So for the kind of work that I do, I need to have that ability 5 years from now to upgrade the RAM to faster RAM or to upgrade the graphics card if need be. So when I buy into a computer system, I want a system that is going to last me minimum 6 years. And if it can't do that, if I can't guarantee that, then it's a hard pass for me. Like these computers, they sound really great, but for my workflow, this would still be, it would be, you know, the laptop that I would do emails and light, you know, maybe the streaming with. Like I wouldn't use it for pro work because at first, not all the applications have been ported to it. So
that's right.
And I don't see Adobe doing that very fast anyways, because the Adobe architecture that they've built all their applications is still such an old scripting language.
Yeah.
So unless they rewrite it, they may just brute force it again and just make it work. And I don't see that. I don't see that being a smooth transition very quickly, especially for After Effects, which majority of the work that I do is in. And if After Effects can't work well on it, and if it can't be stable, and if it doesn't perform or render at the speed that I'm expecting it to, then it's a hard pass. So they're nice machines, and if it was just for editing YouTube videos, no problem. I would have bought one a long time ago. But my bread and butter is working in high-end motion graphics and visual effects, and working with all this footage. So I need to be able to have it work nonstop. Like I need a pro machine, right? And these aren't pro machines. They're not. And there's a reason they released them as their entry level. Okay.
So what camera do you mainly shoot on, and what are the pros and cons of that camera?
For photo or for video? Because I actually have two separate ones. What do you want to start with?
Tell me about your video camera.
My video camera is a Canon C200. And it is a workhorse. It shoots 4K. It has beautiful images. It has C-Log 3. It shoots RAW, but I rarely shoot RAW unless I'm shooting higher end stuff. But at that point, the client usually wants to have an ARRI or a RED. So it's not something that I would need. But it's a nice complement for those mid-tier level video productions where if we have C500s or C300s, I can have as a B camera or C camera if need be. And I bought it because I was doing enough small things where I would do interviews just for smaller companies, and it wasn't something that I needed big crews for. So it came on sale. I had an opportunity. I decided to buy it. But before that, I didn't own cameras. I just rented them. There wasn't a need for it. Yeah. But because I did have it, that's why it was easy for me to start the YouTube channel. But I was already planning to do it even without the camera. So it's not like I needed it to begin with. And for photo, I used to have a 5D Mark II for about 9 years. I also had a Canon 1DX Mark II. I love that camera. That was definitely by far just it was that beautiful mix. I was able to get really good footage and beautiful photography. The sensors, the megapixels was just good enough
16,
for.
I think.
No, it was 20, I think.
Or was it 20? Okay.
Yeah, the Mark II was 20. And it was a beautiful camera. It did everything I needed. But the more I started using it with video, I didn't like the video quality that came out of it because there was no C-Log. It was very crunchy. It was really sharpened, over-sharpened, and you couldn't get a great image from it. So I decided to buy the Canon EOS R as my a second camera for that video capability. And it was a new mirrorless, and it was in that comfortable price range for me to jump into a new mounting system. I liked what they were doing with it, but I ended up using it more than the 1DX for photos and for video. So I ended up just selling the 1DX because it was just sitting on the shelf. It was a nice paper, like $5,000 paperweight.
They're heavy. They're heavy as well, man.
I love it. I love it. I loved it. I'm actually looking forward to the 1DX replacement in the R mount system. So
it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, the R1 is the one that I'm looking forward to because I think that's going to be that nice hybrid of a not too big of a sensor, but take amazing photos and have all the photo or video capabilities that I'm looking for. Because I feel that I'm a true hybrid shooter. I do both, and I do both to a level that I feel is professional. But I can't be the judge of my own work. So
for sure.
People pay me to do both of them, and so
there you go.
That's it.
That's half the battle.
Yeah.
So come here. Do you get to work on any movie sets? And if you do, or anything, who's the biggest kind of actor that you would have met to date?
To date,
yeah.
Well, I haven't worked on movie sets in quite some time. Most of the work that I do is in the commercial space or in the pharmaceutical space. That's what I've been kind of doing in the last little bit. But I used to work for a hologram company, and I got to meet a lot of celebrities and work with them directly. Jason Momoa was someone that I got to work with. Mr. Aquaman, when he was doing his launch of the Aquaman movie, that was fun. I got to work with Tony Robbins, Stephen Hawking, Gary Vee, just name dropping at this point. Stop me anytime. And just constant. I got to work with the Prime Minister of Canada. These are people that I literally was directing and filming. So it was a great experience doing that kind of stuff.
Cool.
I think, and before that, got to work with William Shatner and just a whole bunch of fun stuff. But being on a film set, that's something that I haven't done in quite some time. One of my best friends, he does 2 features a year, and he's always on film and just working his ass off to do it. So I live that portion vicariously through him. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I like what I do, and having 3 kids, I like being at home. So post-production is where I like to live.
So what's next for Rafael? What's your big plans for, say, 2021?
I think I'm going to lean into the YouTube space a little bit more. The first year, it was more of a, hey, can I get through that first year? And the second year was going to be, okay, if the first year feels good, I'm going to lean in the second year. And at the end of the second year, I'm going to reevaluate and see if I want to continue doing that. Because I gave myself 2 years consistently uploading videos, see how it goes, see if I can get it to a point where I can make enough money that it pays for the time that I put into making the videos. So it doesn't have to pay all my expenses. Can it be higher than my day rate to make one video? That's where I kind of wanted to see where it is. And
cool.
So if I can get there, that would be a good thing. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't do it for the money. It's like, well, I'm not doing it for the money because the money's not coming in yet. But if I can get there after a 2-year commitment to it, then I'll continue doing it. That's where I'm kind of going with it. And thus far, like I said, I haven't been paid financially for it, but through the conversations, the relationships, the experience of just having these kind of conversations, it has made it so worth it, especially this past year where otherwise I would be working on sets and I'd be doing stuff with people. Having that community, this has been a great, better substitute for that, because it's people that are so like-minded to you and I that we just have a great time, have a great conversation every time we do have a conversation.
It's like an outlet. It's like a round of golf for us, you know, where the golf dads go out on a Sunday afternoon and spend 4 hours out on the course. For me, it's inside on the computer chatting with yourself, and likewise, like, you know, those type of people. That
Exactly.
community. I love it. It's brilliant.
It's the exact same feeling, even though it's remote and it's doing it like this. But because we have the same passion for the same kind of focused area, it just makes it easy to just keep chatting for hours and hours.
So I have all these aspirations to get to all these different places in the world. So like, I want to go to Canada, I want to go to America, but they are put on hold. But have you ever had the thought, the idea to travel? Like, do you ever consider coming to Ireland to come visit me and have a tour around?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially after seeing some of your videos and just seeing what you have a few few miles away from you. Yeah, absolutely. It's always been on my bucket list to come and visit. It just seems like an amazing place to go on a photo adventure. And like I said, where I live, I'm pretty sure there are some nice little hidden gems of locations, but there it would just feel like, you know, like stop the car. It would just be a constant barrage of amazing places. And that's the feeling, because I traveled to Australia, and that's how I felt when I was there. So I'm pretty sure because of the geography of where you are and the history, that's the part that I would love the most, right? It wouldn't be just the landscapes. It would be, you know, I'd want to see the
we
history.
Have a rich history up and down the coast. Like, you've the Spanish Armada, which crashed in around County Clare, where they all executed the heads off people, and then the Vikings coming over. You have the 1916 Rising. I mean, history in Ireland is just it's amazing. You'd read books till you bleed out the words out your ears, if that makes any sense.
That's great. Yeah, no, I absolutely 100%. Nope. So I have to ask you, where would you want to go in the States? What are you interested in?
I've always had the idea of kind of going to Death Valley. A friend of mine, Bernard, he's been there. I think he's been there. Has he been there? I think he's either been there or he wants to go there. And I also want to do, me personally, I want to do storm chasing. I've seen some of those programs on TV and I'm like, yeah, that is for me. And Nick Page does it a bit. Another photographer, he's absolutely awesome. Check him out. He's got his own YouTube channel. I'll stick a link for Nick's channel up here. But yeah, storm chasing is probably the biggest thing I would actually like to go do in America. And obviously go to somewhere like Madison Square Garden to watch a basketball match. Even though the Knicks stink, I'd still like to go to the Mecca.
Well, just make sure that the Suns are playing on the schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Book your tickets beforehand. Exactly. But yeah, that's where I met Jason Momoa. He was doing SNL, and we did his broadcast out of 30 Rock. So that was fun.
All right, so Rafa, thank you very much for coming on the one-to-one series. Genuinely, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed having you on here. And do you want to tell the listeners where they can find out more about you?
On my YouTube channel, Rafael Ludwig, or on any of the other socials at Capricorn8, which is my business handle. But if you search Rafael Ludwig, you will be able to find me anywhere. So yeah, come and say hi, and looking forward to it. And thank you for having me on this.
Excellent stuff. No, thank you. Actually, I love watching your channel as much as I can and learning from you. It's made my life on YouTube
making me
a hell of a lot easier.
I am humbled, and thank you. Thank you.
So guys, I hope you've really enjoyed this episode. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And if you haven't learned anything here today, go check out Rafael's channel. You will learn tons and tons about videography and all those type of things like Final Cut Pro, C-Log, especially C-Log. It's great. It's absolutely amazing. So if you've got any questions for me or Rafael, please leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget us a like and a subscribe and a comment for the crack. All right, so guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Have a good day. Hey, yo.